Stop
We're reading Huck Finn.
Yeah, we're just reading Huck Finn.
This genius book.
Yep.
I was kind of realizing, like, through this book, like, Huck learns a lot about, like, society, and he, like, grows morally,
But he doesn't learn really through other people. It's mostly through himself, through, like, his experiences and stuff.
So, like, in the whole book, what do you think is the most important, like, moral lesson that he learned?
Like, he learns to, like, question other people and question what they feed them, because there's a lot of ideas that get circulated around,
and he has to figure it out on his own, and, like,
figure out what's right or wrong. Even, like, in the beginning of the book, Widow Douglas and them, they're all like, oh, we need to go to heaven, hell's like the worst, but, like,
well, at the same time, like, Widow Douglas is trying to teach him, like, what's good and bad based off of her, like, religious, like, viewpoint on it. But the thing is that morally we know that treating someone like they're not a person and that they're only useful for labor isn't okay, like, she teaches him, yes, there's heaven and hell, but she also has slaves, so this isn't a moral, like, lesson that's like...
And then, so I found a quote, and it's it says, what it was he planned to do if the evasion worked all right, and he managed to set a N-word free that was already free before. And he said what he had planned in his head from the start, if we got Jim out all safe, was for us to run him down the river on the raft and have adventures plumb to the mouth of the river, and then tell him about his being free and take him back up home on the steamboat in style and pay for his lost time. And then he would be a hero, and so would we. But I reckoned it was all about as well the way it was. So it's pretty much saying how Tom didn't view Jim as a real person. He just used him, like, for games and for his own amusement. And Huck learned through that how bad society and people treated black people during those times, and
especially his friend Tom. Like,
yeah, right.
Like, he'd been questioning people all his life, and then when Tom comes around and makes a game out of Jim's situation, Huck doesn't really question it.
Yeah, and Huck never questioned him.
And the thing is that, like, Tom is Huck's best friend, so having this, like, idea, this adventure, and this childish, like, game that Tom plays all the time, because even in the beginning when they were trying to, like, get Jim out of the Phelps, like, plantation, Huck wanted to do, like, a really simple, like, escape plan, and then Huck wanted to do a really simple escape plan, but Tom just made everything much more difficult. Everything was complicated and more elaborate, and the thing is that this was his game, this is what he wanted, and so because of this, like, things could have been so much more simple, but Huck never stood up to Tom, saying that what you're doing is wrong, like, I don't know why you're doing this, blah blah blah.
Okay, so I have a quote about Jim, and it says, oh, Huck, I bust out a crying and grab her up in my arms and say, oh, the po little thing. The Lord God Almighty forgive po old Jim, 'cause he never gwine to forgive him himself as long as he lived. Oh, she was plumb deaf and dumb, Huck, plumb deaf and dumb, and I'd been entreating her so. And this is just saying when Jim, like, got mad at his daughter because she wasn't doing what he said, but he didn't realize that she was, like, deaf. And this is just, like, another point in the story when Huck identifies that Jim is he's also a caring person and not just someone who, like, someone who they use for, like, labor and stuff. Yeah.
Right.
And
and Huck realizes, like, Jim probably cares the most about his kids compared to other people, and so many other, like, white people had taught Huck that, okay, Jim, he doesn't really care about his family, he doesn't mind if he gets separated,
right, because he's not a person.
But, like, Huck learns through time and through experiences and through his friend Jim that he does have feelings.
Yeah, he actually, like, has feelings. He cares for, like, his kids.
He begins to, like, question everything else that people have taught him, about society.
He rises on his own
and that's about the time when, like, he sees all the corruption in other people, like, the Duke and Dauphine.
Yeah, and the thing is that you're right about this whole parenting of, like, the way that he might care even more than like a white parent does, because Huck's dad Pap didn't care about him at all. He just beat him up for like money. He was a drunk. Like everything that he got, he wanted to take away from Huck. And the thing is that this isn't like this idea of how slaves aren't people and they don't care and they're not like smart enough to like be anything besides whatever labor, is that this man who's white has all these rights to vote and all these things, that he's a drunk and he's a terrible parent. Like he really is. Like he sends him off to like this, his aunt, his widow Douglas, and, you know, like someone who's trying to like civilize him. And the thing is that all of these people that are trying to make him do like right or wrong or whatever, he has to learn that himself, because everything that he's doing, he learns through his right and wrong mistakes. So he's learning through Jim that this person is a true person with feelings, and he's learning through Pap that he hates his father because this isn't how it's supposed to be, and he's learning through Tom that this is such an immature like thing to do, and all of these like mistakes that people are making teaches him his like true moral lesson that like he needs to be a better person, and he realizes all the things that are wrong, that are things that like aren't socially okay to sound like this is how I should feel, you know? Yeah.